In Vedic astrology, to get a full grasp of what's promised within the birth chart, we need to know what the planets mean, what the houses mean, what happens when planets are in certain houses or in certain signs, when planets influence other planets. There's a number of combinations we need to address. One of the important techniques to use, which is very simple, is the idea of aspects. Now, all planets aspect 7 houses away from them. For example, in this chart we see we've got Venus in Taurus, and we have Jupiter in Scorpio. Now, Venus aspects Jupiter, and Jupiter aspects Venus. And if we start with Venus, and we count around in a clockwise fashion, 7 houses from Venus, counting Taurus as number 1, Gemini is the 2nd from Venus, Cancer is the 3rd, Leo is the 4th, Virgo is the 5th, Libra as the 6th, and Scorpio is the 7th from Venus, we can see that Venus directly aspects Jupiter. Now, if we were to count from Jupiter to Venus, Scorpio being number 1, Sagittarius number 2, Capricorn 3, Aquarius the 4th house, Pisces the 5th house from Jupiter, Aries the 6th house from Jupiter, we'll come to Taurus, which is the 7th house from Jupiter, and Scorpio. So Jupiter also aspects Venus. Now, all of the planets aspect 7 houses away from each other. And if we look at this next chart, if we take Mercury and Sun into consideration, we'll see that 7 houses away from Mercury and Sun, we have the sign of Sagittarius. So we always count the house that they're in as the first house. So Mercury and Sun are in Gemini, that's number 1. Cancer is the 2nd house from Mercury and Sun. Leo is the 3rd house from Mercury and Sun. Virgo is the 4th house from Mercury and Sun. Libra is the 5th, Scorpio is the 6th, and Sagittarius is the 7th. This is important because there are no planets in Sagittarius, and oftentimes in a birth chart you'll find that there'll be many houses, many signs with no planets in it. That doesn't mean that there's no impact to that area of a person's life, because there very well may be aspects to that area of a person's life. And as a planet casts an aspect, it influences that area. And this is for later study, but basically you can determine if there is good karma involved with planets and bad karma based on their dignity. And dignity is a combination of the natural relationship, the natural friendships between planets, and the temporary friendships between planets. And to learn more about that, numerous Vedic astrology books cover it. It's also covered in the book The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology. Every planet aspects 7 houses away, but then Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars have special aspects. So they also aspect 7 houses away, but for example, Jupiter aspects 5 houses from where it's located, and also 9 houses from where it's located. If we look at this chart, we'll see Jupiter's in Scorpio, and with its 5th aspect, Jupiter is influencing Pisces. So we start with Scorpio as number 1, Sagittarius is 2, Capricorn is the 3rd house from Jupiter, Aquarius is the 4th house from Jupiter, and we get to Pisces as the 5th house from Jupiter. We see that Jupiter is aspecting Taurus and Venus with its 7th aspect. And if we count around clockwise, again starting with Scorpio as the 1st, we come to Cancer as the 9th from Jupiter. Jupiter is aspecting the 9th house from Jupiter, which is Cancer, where Rahu is placed. Mars also has special aspects. Mars aspects 4 houses from wherever it's located, and 8 houses from wherever it's located, in addition to its 7th house aspect. So what we see here, Mars in Libra, we count around clockwise to the 4th house from Mars, and we get to Ketu, which is in Capricorn. If we count around 7 houses from Mars, we get to Aries, where the moon is located. So Mars is aspecting Aries and the moon. And we can also see that Mars is aspecting 8 houses from where it's located to Taurus. So again, beginning with Libra as number 1, we count around in a clockwise fashion, and Taurus is the 8th house from Mars. Saturn's special aspects are 3 houses away from where it's located, and 10 houses away from where it's located. In this chart, we can see that Saturn aspects Sagittarius. So starting with Libra, number 1, Scorpio number 2, Sagittarius is the 3rd house from Saturn. Saturn is aspecting Aries, which is the 7th aspect, which all planets have. And Saturn is aspecting Cancer with its 10th aspect. So if we start at Libra, and we count around in a clockwise fashion, we'll see that Cancer is 10 houses away from where Saturn is placed, and Rahu is also getting that aspect from Saturn. Now this can get complicated, although usually we just take it one planet at a time. If we look at this chart, we can see how numerous houses and signs, which don't have any planets in it, are getting direct aspects from Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. So starting with Jupiter in Aries, remember Jupiter aspects 5 houses away from it, 7 houses away from it, and 9 houses away from it. So Jupiter is aspecting Leo, and Mars is in Leo, so Jupiter is aspecting Mars as well with its 5th aspect. Jupiter is aspecting Libra with its 7th aspect, and Jupiter is aspecting Sagittarius with its 9th aspect. Looking to Mars, Mars is in Leo, it's aspecting Scorpio with its 4th aspect. Counting around 7, we see that Mars is influencing Aquarius with its 7th aspect, where Saturn is located. And we can see that Mars is impacting Pisces with its 8th aspect. And Saturn is aspecting Aries and Jupiter with its 3rd house aspect. Saturn is aspecting Leo with its 7th house aspect. And Saturn is aspecting Scorpio with its 10th house aspect. Now these are very general aspects. These are what most astrologers use, and what most astrologers have probably been using for thousands of years. And they are very general and can be somewhat imprecise. In order to understand the precise aspects of a planet, we need to do it more mathematically. And there's a system that we use where we take into consideration just how close are the aspects based on particular degrees of the planets involved or the houses involved. And when we go through this mathematical procedure, it's on a scale from 0 to 60. And so if a planet is aspecting to 60 points, that's a full, complete aspect, which means that the influences of that particular planetary energy on that house cusp or on that planet will be fully felt, 100% felt, good or bad. If it's below that range, then that makes the aspect less. So for example, if we have a planet that's only aspecting to 8 points of aspect, that'll just be barely noticeable. And the only astrology software program that I know that takes care of that is a program called Kala, which is the one that I use. So keep in mind that while it's okay to use these general aspects in order to get more precise and specific results, we need to use the mathematical aspects. And we'll cover this in the next video, dealing with the Logitati Avashtas and how those aspects impact the Logitati Avashtas.